Walking through the system, Lin Yang gazes into the sky without words. Why does it appear directly in a nightmare-level world like Perfect World? Fortunately, you can continue to travel, don't panic. Let's just go ahead and make a move. He never imagined that he would start from the chaotic ancient times, witness ancient history, transform into a forbidden zone, go through endless years, live to the post-desolate era, and even longer. Lin Yang. I am not practicing to pretend to be forced, but to practice for the benefit of the common people, as evidenced by the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Perfect World, One World Sovereign, Pan Long, Do Pa Tsangxiong, Master of Secrets, Illustrated Destiny, after Ascension, Martial Arts Master, Manhuang Ji, Swallowing the Starry Sky, Q Group 690697708, welcome all book enthusiasts to give their opinions. Keywords of the novel. Starting from the perfect world without pop-ups, starting from the perfect world, downloading the complete TXT collection, starting from the perfect world, reading the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Begins with a nightmare-level world. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 begins with a nightmare-level world. Where is this? Lin Yang opened his eyes in a daze and found himself lying on a wooden bed covered in an unknown animal skin. In the small room, bows, arrows, and spears were randomly placed. Just as I was about to get out of bed and go out to see where I was, I felt immense pain all over my body, as if I had been run over by a vehicle. Lin Yang took a deep breath of air. If it weren't for his exceptional endurance since childhood, it would have been an ordinary person who would have screamed loudly in the face of such pain. He tried hard to recall how he had become like this, but after thinking for a long time, he only remembered going to bed as usual, only to wake up and appear here. At this moment, the door was pushed open and a middle-aged man dressed in animal skin clothing walked in. The middle-aged man was slightly taken aback when he saw the sober Lin Yang and said, "Young man, are you awake? You have been unconscious for a whole day." Although the words of middle-aged animal skins were a language that Lin Yang had never encountered before, he found himself able to understand them. "Have I been unconscious for a whole day? Where is this?" Lin Yang looked at the middle-aged man in confusion. He didn't know if the middle-aged person could understand Mandarin. Perhaps the words he heard were also in his own language for unknown reasons. "Yes, the village hunting team found you unconscious outside. At that time, you had nothing on your body except for a piece of underwear. For your safety, they brought you back to the village." After communicating with the middle-aged man, Lin Yang gradually understood where he was now. As he guessed, he traveled through the village he is currently in, which is called Zhu Village. There are over 1,000 households in the village, and the name is taken from the guardian deity of the village. According to middle-aged people, it sounds like a spider worshipping a spirit. The village is located in Lizhou. According to ancient legends, there are about 3,000 states in the world on a continent like Lizhou. Sacrifice to the spirit, 3,000 provinces. After the middle-aged man left, Lin Yang also figured out what was happening now. He not only traveled through time, but also traveled to the perfect world in this novel, and was jokingly referred to as a person's cover of the sky by his readers. And directly crossed to Lizhou, one of the 3,000 provinces in the upper boundary. This Zhu village is the place where Shihao's nirvana is located after the upper realm. System. Lin Yang silently recited the idea of trying in his heart. After all, traveling to the world of novels may be unexpected, but this built-in translation function is definitely the effect of golden fingers, such as small towers, mirrors, and trees. In time travel novels, the system appears the most, so Lin Yang started trying it out. As expected, Lin Yang had just finished his inner call when he saw rows of data appearing in front of him. Task. None experience point. 0 countdown. 28 days. When Lin Yang saw these 3 rows of data, he naturally understood what they represented. When certain conditions are met, this system will publish tasks, complete tasks will earn experience points, and failure will not earn experience points. In addition, there is no punishment such as erasure. Experience points can be used to improve one's cultivation level, learn skills to increase proficiency. In addition to completing tasks to obtain experience points, they can also be obtained by killing life forms with similar strength to oneself. The final countdown is the time until the next time it can be crossed, and when it returns to 0, one can choose whether to proceed with the crossing. In the blink of an eye, several days passed, and Lin Yang, who had recovered his body, settled in Zhu village. He didn't know where he could go after leaving. From the book, it can be learned that there were countless rare and exotic beasts in this world with a vast wilderness background. As an ordinary person, he encountered no other possibility than death. When the old man in Zhu village asked about his background, Lin Yang didn't hide much and said that he woke up to find himself at Uncle Zhu Xiong's house, during which he couldn't remember anything. Zhu Xiong is the middle-aged man in animal skin he saw when he woke up. He may come from outside Lizhou, concluded the older generation in Zhu village, San Agon. In ancient classics, he has seen that when a powerful person engages in battle, they tear apart space and entangle everything around them. Perhaps this is how Lin Yang came to Lizhou. On this day, Lin Yang and the younger generation of Zhu village gathered in the center of the village, with a burly man standing in front of them explaining common knowledge of cultivation. Blood moving, heavenly cave, spirit transformation, inscription, formation, venerable, divine fire. Uncle Tiger, is lighting the divine fire a big shot? A boy of 8 or 9 years old asked with a curious expression on his face. He was surrounded by children of similar sizes, and it should be said that except for Lin Yang, a young man in his 20s, all present were young children of 8 or 9 years old. This inevitably made Lin Yang feel a bit awkward. The children present looked young, but each one had unparalleled strange power, weighing at least 1,000 pounds, let alone wait until adulthood. At the beginning, it was a nightmare-like world, where anyone who grabbed a pedestrian armor and threw it into an ordinary world could be called invincible. Lin Yang felt somewhat helpless, as others walked step by step from weak to strong. Fortunately, he appeared directly in this world where gods are not as good as dogs. The deity who ignites the divine fire is unparalleled in power. It is too far away for you to leave Lizhou and travel to other continents. Uncle Tiger's words made the young people yearn for it. According to the classics, Lizhou is a state that stretches for hundreds of thousands of miles, vast and boundless. Ordinary people cannot reach the end of their lives, but the deity can. I also want to become a deity-like person in the future. The boy's eyes were full of expectations. If you want to become such a strong person, you must exercise well and not slack off. Uncle Tiger did not defeat the boy, telling him how difficult it is to become a deity. He also had such fantasies when he was young, but decades have passed and he has only stopped in the realm of the cave, even the transformation of spirits is far away. In the entire Zhu village, Lin Yang only knows about the level of spiritual transformation, which is the spider sacrificial spirit at the entrance of the village. The first step in cultivation is to move blood, which requires mobilizing the whole body's essence and blood. The blood flow is like thunder, triggering divine light from the blood to refine heaven and earth, nourish the body. Lin Yang could understand every word Uncle Hu said, but when combined, he couldn't understand the meaning behind it. Even though he knew everything, he never paid attention to how to cultivate into the realm of moving blood. I remember sure how just 8 and 8, and naturally reached this level. Lin Yang carefully recalled the original work, and in the early stage, there were indeed no cultivation techniques that could only become stronger by eating various ferocious beast meat. You watch my movements carefully and study them with your heart, so that you can have better exercise effects, Uncle Tiger said, putting on strange movements. Lin Yang and the children of Zhu village watched carefully. After a while, he was a bit disappointed, which was a bit different from the imagined way of absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for cultivation. As expected, it's just a small village with no advanced methods to become stronger. These movements are not much different from the various exercise methods before crossing. It seems that the world level is still high enough and full of spiritual energy. Even with various thoughts in his heart, Lin Yang followed everyone and imitated Uncle Tiger's movements. Zhu village provided him with clothing, food, housing, and transportation, and Lin Yang prepared to repay this small village when it developed in the future. In the past few days, Lin Yang has inquired about the news outside the village and knows that the unforgettable battle of Tianjiao in the 3000 Dao states is about to begin. This indicates that Shi Hao has already defeated all enemies in the lower realm and is about to ascend to the upper realm. And Lin Yang also discovered the first opportunity, based on his own knowledge of the future. If he could grasp it, he could quickly cultivate into the realm of moving blood, saving years of hard work. Book Friend Group 690697708 Note. Before the completion of the Holy Market, there may be some conflicts between the plot and the original text of the Holy Market. We apologize that they will be synchronized with the original text in the later stage. Please read and participate in the new book investment plan, thank you all. By the way, please collect and recommend tickets. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Rapid Progress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Rapid Progress. Day by day, Lin Yang felt himself improving at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. Now, with a single punch, he could weigh 600 to 700 pounds, enough to break the world record and become stronger at an incredible speed. Task. None experience point. 0 countdown. 17 days. During this period of time, I have been exercising in the village without any opportunities to go hunting, so my experience points are still 0. Or rather, he is still too weak now. As long as he leaves the village, he will definitely die, even if he goes out with the hunting team, it is a burden. Therefore, Lin Yang was sensible and did not want the hunting team to take him out to obtain experience points, and no one liked to carry a burden. Uncle Gio and his team have returned, bringing back a village trauma victim. A message reached Lin Yang's ear, making him perk up. Uncle Gio is an old man in the village who usually goes hunting with the hunting team. And the outsiders brought back during this period, apart from Shi Hao who had just ascended the realm, could not have been anyone else. Finally arrived. Lin Yang breathed a sigh of relief. In his memory, Shi Hao would complete his nirvana in Zhu village, attracting the reorganization of the laws of the upper realm and solidifying his foundation. And his goal is to build the nirvana pool by Shi Hao. Even if all the essence of the magic medicine will be absorbed by Shi Hao, leaving only the waste blood after transformation, it is also a pool of unsurpassed medicine for him. As long as he absorbs everything left by Shi Hao's transformation, he estimates that he can cultivate the blood-moving realm and barely have the ability to protect himself by following the hunting team to hunt and obtain experience points near Zhu village. With a goal in mind, Lin Yang patiently waited day by day. He had no intention of encountering Shi Hao for the time being. After all, Shi Hao, who had experienced countless hardships from the lower world and climbed to the upper world, was not the little one from the former stone village. The gap between the two was too large and there was no need for communication. On this day, a dragon chant spread throughout Zhu village, and everyone looked up in shock towards the pond at the end of the village. There are wisps of divine clouds overflowing, very brilliant, like patches of light and rain falling. Someone wanted to get close to the center of the illusion to explore, but was blocked by the formation arranged by Shi Hao in advance. The brilliant divine glow lasted for a day and a night before gradually fading away. Lin Yang had long been waiting outside the formation, and there was also the village pharmacist San Agon by his side. Apart from the two, there was no one else. Although the various illusions caused by Shi Hao's nirvana were magical and splendid, they were very common in the upper realm and did not affect the daily life of Zhu village. Unbelievable, this is a powerful cultivator. Lin Yang looked at Shi Hao walking out of the formation in amazement. Even though he had not yet stepped into the blood-moving realm, he could feel that Shihao in front of him was like a scorching sun, his blood was incredibly strong. As soon as he left the level, Shihao asked Sanagon about the preliminary selection for the Battle of Tianjiao in the 3000 Dao states. The battle for the selection of warriors still had a few days left, and he finally made a decision to participate in this battle. Lin Yang then asked, "Can I go in?" He doesn't know if the formation is still effective, he doesn't want to try it with his own life. Is this? Shihao looked at Sanagon. At first, he thought Lin Yang was his junior, but now it seems obvious that he is not. His name is Lin Yang, and he was also rescued by a hunting team. Because he couldn't find his way home, he stayed in the village all along, said Sanagon. Sanagon does not believe that there are any valuable items left in the formation. After all, the person who arranged the formation has successfully passed the level and cannot leave any more divine items. Go inside, there's no danger now. This was originally the place of the village. Shihao carefully glanced at Lin Yang while speaking. He had originally thought that people in the upper realm would at least be in the blood-moving realm when they reached adulthood, but he didn't expect that there were still ordinary people. If Lin Yang knew Shihao's idea at the moment, he would surely roast that it is Xianyu who started to move from the blood realm as an adult. Although the 3000 Dao state has abundant energy in the heavens and earth, not everyone carries tens of thousands of pounds of immense strength. Without caring about Shihao who left with Sanagon, Lin Yang suppressed his excitement and saw the two nirvana pools dug up by Shihao ahead. A nirvana pool is empty, and all the essence of it is absorbed by Shihao to transform himself. And Lin Yang's goal is the second nirvana pool, which is filled with the waste blood left by Shihao's transformation. Even if it was blood waste, in Lin Yang's eyes, there was still a surge of blood, and strands of divine light had not yet dissipated. What a chance! Lin Yang sighed, if it weren't for this experience. He wants to gradually cultivate the blood-moving realm, which will take at least a year and a half, and there are still about 10 days left for him to cross. The unknown new world may not have safety guarantees, so he can only seize the opportunity to improve himself. If it weren't for the fact that every beast has thousands of pounds of monster power, going out hunting to obtain experience points would also be a good choice. I don't know why the mission hasn't been triggered, is it too weak? There is a peculiar fragrance coming from the Nirvana blood pool, without any bloody smell. Stepping in, Lin Yang felt as if he had entered boiling water, with a burning sensation emanating from all over his body. Suppressing the pain, Lin Yang made strange movements in the way he had learned. Lin Yang jokingly said that this is the XTH set of radio gymnastics for middle-aged and young people in China. When all the movements were over, Lin Yang was shocked to find that his strength had increased by at least 50%. This has only been about 10 minutes. His body did not feel any discomfort except for the burning sensation. My current strength may be over 1,000 pounds. Indeed, when encountering opportunities in this level of world, I can easily level up. Because there were no specific measuring tools, Lin Yang could only roughly estimate his own strength. I can't say that I can reach the realm of moving blood today, or even achieve great success. Lin Yang realized that he underestimated the strength of the venerable characters, or rather did not anticipate that Shihao's transformation and waste of blood would be so abnormal. Perhaps this blood pool contains the blood of the transformed supreme bone in Shihao's chest, which is why he has such divine ability to quickly enter the first stage of cultivation. Lin Yang's movements are non-stop, using the exercise method repeatedly. He was immersed in this rapidly increasing pleasure, even the sunset and rising moon did not stop him. He was afraid that the divine energy in the blood pool would pass away completely, so he had to race against time to absorb it. Wait until the body can no longer feel any burning sensation. Lin Yang knew that all the divine energy in the blood pool had been absorbed by him, and he didn't know when he wanted to become stronger quickly next time. The moon hangs high in mid-air, and the sky is filled with twinkling stars. Lin Yang stood up from behind in the Nirvana pool, his heart suddenly jumping. He was surprised to find a young man standing silently not far away, with a strange and heart-shaking temperament on his body. He knew this person, Shi Hao, whom he only saw in the morning. Book Friend Group 690697708, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. Blood Moving Extreme Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Blood Moving Extreme Realm. I can't figure out what mindset Shi Hao came with. After a brief silence, Lin Yang took the initiative to say, "Thank you very much." After shaking his head slightly, Shi Hao smiled and said, "You don't need to thank me. This is because you seized this opportunity to transform yourself. Otherwise, the remaining divine energy will completely dissipate in at most 3 days." He originally came back on a whim to take a look, but he didn't expect to see Lin Yang honing himself in the waste blood left by his transformation. For him in the realm of veneration, this is a waste of blood, but for ordinary people, it is a chance for transformation. To you, it's just a small matter and not worth caring about, but ultimately, I have accepted your kindness, Lin Yang continued. There is a saying in my hometown, a drop of water's kindness should be repaid by a gushing spring. When there is a chance in the future, I will definitely repay this kindness. Lin Yang has no precise concept of the level of his own system and whether he can catch up with a pervert like Shi Hao who has been supreme for 200 or 300 years, but it is not difficult for him to repay Shi Hao. The Emperor of Wilderness walked alone on the Great Road throughout his life, wielding a single sword to rule for eternity. But Lin Yang is aware of several regrets in his life, which is his advantage. Is the kindness of a drop of water to be repaid by a gushing spring? Then I look forward to it. Remember, my name is Huang. Shi Hao laughed heartily. He extended his finger forward and a divine light flew into Lin Yang's body. He did not reveal his true name, fearing that the hostile forces in the upper realm would send true gods to pursue him. He had just finished his nirvana and was still in the process of improving the heaven and earth avenue, unable to use his treasures. The speed of the divine light was extremely fast, and before Lin Yang could react, he felt his brain suddenly hit by the divine light. In the divine light, there were runes shimmering with lightning, and Lin Yang focused his thoughts on the runes, feeling that they were a type of rune related to lightning. After completing the lion-dragon treasure technique, one can master all the thunder in the world, Shi Hao explained. This is a powerful treasure technique that he relied on when he reached the realm of the cave, and it is not an important thing for him now. Great kindness without saying thank you. Upon hearing this, Lin Yang was overjoyed that the blood-moving realm could be cultivated through the skill of a water mill. However, even if placed in the upper realm, it is not easy to obtain the powerful treasure technique of the lion and dragon. Shi Hao is simply his gift boy. No, it's an old grandfather. I gave him cultivation and killing skills again, so that when I cross again, I will at least have another trump card. Knowing that he could not cultivate the lion-dragon treasure technique in a short period of time, Lin Yang wanted to try how much physical strength he had achieved. Shi Hao has already left early, and for him, the current Lin Yang is not worth paying too much attention to. Giving Lin Yang another treasure technique tonight is just a stroke of excitement, and he has not longed for anything in return. Lin Yang, who was eager to try, didn't care to rest and walked all the way to the center of Zhu village, where a row of bronze cauldrons were placed for the villagers to test their strength. Without paying attention to the weight of the first few thousand pounds, he went straight to the back of the 10,000-pound giant cauldron. The bronze cauldron bears traces of time and is clearly crafted from a long time ago. 20,000 pounds. Get up. Lin Yang waved his arm and effortlessly lifted the giant cauldron with just one hand. 20,000 pounds is already the strength in the middle stage of moving blood, and Lin Yang effortlessly achieved it. After placing the bronze cauldron in place, Lin Yang crossed several giant cauldrons and arrived at the last one. This is a bronze cauldron weighing 50,000 pounds, with no difference in style from the small cauldron in front, except for its largest volume. Get up. This 50,000-pound bronze cauldron is more than twice as heavy as the 20,000-pound one, but Lin Yang felt that he didn't have to put in too much effort and lifted it easily. 50,000 pounds represents the ultimate strength in carrying blood, and Lin Yang's current strength is far beyond it. There is no heavier bronze cauldron for him to measure his strength. If you want to know how strong the power is, you must find a dedicated divine iron. Lin Yang paused slightly, then his eyes lit up as he looked at the first few tens of thousands of pounds of giant cauldrons. 2 or 3 stacked together, is the weight finally enough? As he spoke and worked, he pressed the 40,000-pound giant cauldron onto the largest bronze cauldron and tried to lift it. This time, it was far less relaxed than the previous 2 times, and I could clearly feel the difficulty, but I still lifted it up. This indicates that 90,000 pounds is not his limit. Once again, he pressed a 30,000-pound cauldron upwards. This time, it was very difficult to lift, and Lin Yang could feel his arms trembling. The earth beneath my feet cracks and sinks and collapses every inch where I stand. A single arm weighing over 100,000 pounds, this is the ultimate realm of blood transfer. After returning the giant cauldron to its original position, Lin Yang was shocked by his immense strength. Specifically, his strength exceeded 120,000 pounds, which means he can lift a heavy object of 60 tons. If you want to hit someone, a full blow may cause the same effect as in low-quality plasma movies. In less than a day, his strength surged more than 150 times. If everyone in Zhu village knew about it, they would surely envy it. No one could have imagined that a supposedly abandoned land would create such a miracle. The next day, Lin Yang continued to exercise as usual and found that his subtle control over strength had decreased significantly after reaching the blood-moving extreme realm. Although he had not been able to control it as well before, he still had to surpass it now. He was not in a hurry to cultivate the lion-dragon treasure technique. Even though he had never been exposed to it before, Lin Yang knew that it was not something that could be cultivated in a moment. His expected goal is to have a preliminary understanding of the lion-dragon treasure technique before the next journey arrives, without any extravagance. Day by day, since the news of the warrior selection contest began a year ago, the young generation eager to become famous in Zhu village have set off early to participate in the competition, and Shi Hao has also followed the team to CNC. He has not been far away from Zhu village since ascending to the upper realm. Lin Yang did not leave with him. He knew that in a few days, Zhu village would not disappoint. The young adult in the immortal palace is chasing a woman with hidden silver hair. The opportunity in this woman's body will lead to several Tianjiao, first generation, from the upper world appearing one by one in Lijiao to erupt in a battle of the venerable level. Huating Jini, Shandian, Zhenggu, Yuechan, Witch, Immortal Temple. Thinking of the appearance of the heavenly pride from the upper realm this time, Lin Yang's gaze gradually became profound. Even though there was a gap like heaven and earth between him and the other person at this moment, he did not take it to heart. Surpassing the other party is just a matter of time, Lin Yang has confidence. Even though he has not yet reached the heavenly cave realm, those heavenly princes have long been invincible in the realm of the venerable. Tomorrow we can travel, I'm really looking forward to it. If it weren't for the imminent gathering of wind and clouds here, and even the intervention of true gods, Lin Yang wouldn't have wanted to travel and leave as soon as it was time. After all, the system did not force him, and the choice had always been in his own hands. He had a premonition that he would return to this world in the future, so he didn't ponder how to repay Shi Hao in the future. I don't know which world I will travel to, but if it's a low-level martial arts world. The picture is simply too beautiful. Lin Yang couldn't help but shake his head at the thought of punching the so-called top expert in the world into a small pancake. He couldn't help but think that he wouldn't get experience points. He hasn't triggered any missions in the past month, and he doesn't have much expectation of obtaining experience points through missions anymore. Book Friend Group 690697708. The perfect role is temporarily over. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation, Seeking Collection of Books. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation, Seeking Collection of Books, let's travel through it. Looking at the time of returning to zero, Lin Yang Sigu glanced at this small mountain village on the vast wilderness, no longer lingering, and chose to travel. Leave quietly without disturbing anyone. Lin Yang felt layers of light and shadow overlapping around his body, and his eyes suddenly turned black and then bright, causing a great change in the surrounding scenery. A brilliant glow spread throughout the sky, with a dazzling pillar of light shining brightly in the center. The ground was covered with rare spiritual jade. It seems to be the legendary holy realm of the immortal family. A fierce sound of fighting echoed in Lin Yang's ears. He followed the sound and saw a burly man holding a long sword wielding a deadly weapon, slashing towards a very young monk. A seductive and piercing scream suddenly rang out, and Lin Yang discovered that in addition to the two people, there were also several young girls wearing ancient costumes in this place, indicating that it was an ancient world. Isn't it really in the world of low martial arts? Lin Yang thought to himself, but couldn't figure out the specifics. He was ready to observe the development of the situation before making a decision. Task. Become recognized as the top person on the list. 800 experience points. Experience point. 0 countdown. 30 days, the list of people. It's indeed a martial arts world, but I'm not sure exactly where it is. Looking at the finally emerging system task, Lin Yang made a judgment. Just as he was pondering, the little monk seemed like a ghost, flickering and retreating. The refined steel ring sword swung out, and suddenly, the burly man with the back of the sword stumbled and his center of gravity was unstable, almost falling. The little monk didn't take advantage of the situation and shouted in a childish voice, "Stay calm." The big man stabilized his figure and looked at the little monk in disbelief, saying with fear, "Little master, where is this place?" He was originally waiting for his enemy to come to his door, but suddenly appeared in this place in a daze. He thought it was an enemy conspiracy, so he planned to first hurt someone to relieve the pressure. Now, it seems that the young monk's martial arts are not so good. If the little monk had been invited by an enemy, it would have been great if he had such a dignified martial arts skills to come knocking on his door. There was no need to plot against him. The little monk carefully looked at the newcomers and was surprised, "Which remote place is this from? You're still wearing animal skins." Then he explained in a flat tone, "This is the reincarnation world. I am truly determined, but I just came a little earlier than you." The world of reincarnation. Lin Yang murmured, his expression becoming inexplicable. "I didn't expect to come to a martial arts world with infinite flow this time, but I really chose this name, it's a bit familiar. The Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation is the ruler of the world of reincarnation. Under his arrangement, we will experience different worlds and complete various tasks. Of course, after completing the task, we will receive good work, and if the task fails, the same good work will be deducted. People with negative good work will be wiped out by the Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation. The word erase is pronounced heavily, exuding a chilling blood. Here, one can exchange good deeds for everything. Little benefactor, how can you leave this reincarnation world? I don't have great ambitions and don't want to experience one world after another. The person asking was a charming young woman, and her previous scream was from her. The Great Luo Golden Talisman, worth 300,000 good deeds, can permanently break away from the world of reincarnation. Zhending explained calmly, but every time he completes the main task in a different world, he will return to our world to rest for a period of time, waiting for the next task to start. The little monk's explanation is still going on, and Lin Yang has already determined which world this time is. A lifelong reverence. If I remember correctly, now is Mengqi, which is the second reincarnation mission of Monk Zhending, and there is still some time before he becomes that crazy sword. The eyes of the burly man were hot, and he asked impatiently, "Good deeds can be exchanged for everything. Is there any Dharma body divine skill? Is there a Jinpai divine weapon?" Without receiving the expected, commentary reward, Meng Qi, who was slightly depressed, stopped speaking and pointed to the dazzling beam of light, allowing several people to watch on their own. A pure white light curtain hangs from the vast sky, with inexplicable ancient characters imprinted on it. The Unparalleled Divine Skill Manual. At the moment he saw these ancient characters, the meaning of these words flashed through Lin Yang's heart. His gaze fell and he looked at the lines of information on the screen of light. The complete version of Buddha's Palm, exchange price. 1 million good deeds. The Buddha's Palm is a divine skill created by the Buddha in this realm, divided into 9 forms. If an ordinary person learns one form, they can dominate the world without any opponents, and can also prove the Buddha's golden body representing the supreme path. The 7 swords of cutting off the sky lacks the 3rd and 6th moves, with an exchange price of 750,000 good deeds. Similar to the Buddha's Palm, this 7 swords of cutting off heaven comes from the Taoist master and can condense the cutting off heaven Tao body. If he could obtain these 2 unparalleled divine skills, he would not have to worry about them for a long time. The 8-9 Mysteries, the Demon Emperor Classic, the Golden Book of the Human Emperor, and the Phoenix Bathing Fire Technique. The several martial arts at the bottom of this page are all unparalleled divine arts that have only appeared in mythological legends, and some are the fundamental techniques of the sect's Holy Land, such as the Heavenly Emperor Jade Book, Zhenwu 7-Section Classic, and Taishang Sword Classic. It's really fortunate to have come to this world without practicing martial arts. According to his memory, this time point is relatively safe and there is ample time for him to grow. After reading the first page of the divine arts, the light curtain spontaneously flipped and the second page appeared. The ancient characters also changed to Dharma Body Divine Arts, which recorded an unparalleled divine skill capable of cultivating gods and demons. Any book in this world can cause a huge wave of chaos and bloodshed. Lin Yang looked at everything and didn't dwell too much on this page, but he finished reading the entire content in a moment. The following light curtain showcases various levels of martial arts and moves, including external scenes, enlightenment, chi accumulation, and foundation building, corresponding to the cultivation system of this realm, from strong to weak. At this moment, a cold and majestic voice echoed through everyone's hearts. The general meaning is that one cannot reveal the world of reincarnation to others, kill companions and deduct money, and prohibit exchange and exchange techniques. Several people have not yet discussed this, and the surrounding scenes have changed again, with alternating mountains and rivers and overlapping light and shadow. After everything in front of him became clear, Lin Yang looked around and saw them in a deserted alley. The team originally consisted of several people, but now he only has 3 men and 2 women. At the beginning of this mission, the troops were divided into 2 teams. It seems that junior brother Zhending and his team are another team. The young man wearing a gossip robe thought of the main task. He looked at several newcomers and said loudly, "I am Zhang Yuanshan from Zhenwu, and this is Jiang Jiwei from Shijian Pavilion. They are all on their 2nd reincarnation mission. The Central Plains was plagued by endless wars, and the northern barbarians took the opportunity to invade. Our task is to deliver the list of Shaolin spies who were bribed by Duo Cha to Shaolin within 3 days." Zhang Yuanshan summarized the tasks released by the Lord of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation. Answer for book enthusiasts who have not read it for a lifetime. The span of the Dharma body level is very large, about equal to the level from the void path to the supreme. In this volume, several background board Dharma body levels are approximately the void path and /me levels. The Dharma body level divine skill, even if its name is common, has a super skill and move in its core. Subscription is very important for new readers as it relates to the lifespan of the book. Therefore, for those who have free money, we hope to support the legitimate version at Qidian, which only costs 1 pack of cigarettes per month. Thank you. Asterisk degree equals 3, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. Enlightenment and Interception of Martial Arts, recommended. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Enlightenment and Interception of Martial Arts, recommended. Jiang Jiwei is a young girl dressed in a bright yellow dress, with a long sword at her waist. She looks only 15 or 16 years old, but her eyes occasionally flash with a purple light like sharpness, indicating that she has opened her eyes. Wang Jin, you have opened your eyes, the middle-aged man in plain clothes replied. Kobijuan, a person from Jiangnan, the enchanting young woman said with a smile, I can't compare to all the handsome men. I'm just a little successful in accumulating energy. Looking at himself as the only one left, Lin Yang spoke truthfully, Lin Yang, all I know is that I live in Zhu village and have not practiced martial arts, but I have a natural divine power. He was still wearing the animal skin of Zhu village. After completing this task, you can choose to cultivate martial arts, Zhang Yuanshan said succinctly. Jiang Jiwei silently watched several people's self-introductions. I didn't expect that the Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation would not only bring young heroes into the space of reincarnation, but also bring in villagers and mediocre middle-aged people. It's really hard to guess what he thinks. Wang Jin glanced at Lin Yang and didn't pay much attention to what kind of vision villagers who had not practiced martial arts could have. The so-called innate divine power was just a laughingstock. The mission requires us to arrive at Shaolin within 3 days, and along the way, there are also experts sent by Duo or Cha intercepting us. It seems that there are many dangers along the way. Zhang Yuanshan, who had experience in reincarnation once, became the leader of the team and led everyone towards the alleyway. Lin Yang followed the crowd in silence. When reading this novel, it was still several years ago, and I can't remember the specific plot clearly. I'm not sure what Zhang Yuanshan encountered along the way, but I know that there were no casualties when he met with Meng Qi's team, and it seems like he didn't encounter any crisis. After everyone inquired, they found out that they were in a small town called Guanhe, which was a considerable distance from Shaohua Mountain, where Shaolin was located. If we travel by the foot of an ordinary person, we cannot reach Shaohua Mountain in 3 or 4 days. We'll go by 3 horses and drive day and night. Jiang Jiwei's words are like a person's, piercing the nail on the head. Before entering, I prepared 100 taels of silver as enough for these days' expenses. Everyone inquired all the way and finally came to a shop, which looked like a place for renting and selling horses. When Zhang Yuanshan took out his silver coins, the laborer led out 3 Juju-bred horses, which, according to the shop owner, could travel 600 miles a day. As Zhang Yuanshan, Jiang Jiwei, and others swiftly flipped over and mounted their horses, Lin Yang awkwardly spoke, I don't know how to ride a horse. Brother Lin, you can sit on the same horse as me, and the remaining horse will be handed over to Wang Jin and Wang Daxia. Zhang Yuanshan nodded in understanding, not like the wandering of the martial arts world. Riding is an essential skill, and it is normal for the villagers in the small mountain village to not know how to ride horses. Thank you very much. Lin Yang learned from what he looked like in the TV drama and bowed with his fists clasped. Wang Jin didn't say much and rode a horse alone, which was exactly what he wanted. Jiang Jiwei didn't know if Lin Yang could survive this time. With a kind reminder, she said, after this mission is over, you need to find an opportunity to practice. This situation is inevitable in future missions. Lin Yang nodded to indicate that he understood. Although his family background is not ordinary, he has never ridden a horse. A group of people drove along the rammed earth road, and Zhang Yuanshan thought that Lin Yang was not skilled in martial arts, so he casually said, there are several stages of practicing martial arts. I'll just tell you about them, so you don't have to go back and explore after finishing the task. In Zhang Yuanshan's view, if there were martial arts experts in Zhu village, Lin Yang, a young man in his early 20s, could not have even reached the level of energy storage. Since we have entered reincarnation and are all teammates, it would be good for everyone to be able to take care of us. Lin Yang did not refuse, quietly listening to him. Opening meridians, accumulating qi, 9 orifices, external scenery. Zhang Yuanshan, who came from a martial arts school, explained his cultivation clearly, and even Wang Jin, whose strength cannot be underestimated, benefited greatly and understood the future ahead. In this moment, the whole group has arrived at the entrance of Guanha town. As long as there is another cup of tea, they will stay away from Guanha town. Shoo, shoo. At this moment, the sound of breaking through the air was heard, and dozens of white feather arrows shot without warning from the dense forest towards everyone. Zhang Yuanshan's eyes contracted, his gentle demeanor dissipated, and he shouted, "There's an ambush." Drawing out his long sword from his waist, he accurately cut off all the feather arrows in front of him. Zhang Yuanshan gazed deep into the jungle, and a figure slowly walked out. This is an old man in his 50s and 60s, wearing a dark robe with an inexplicable aura. It's Guan Haran from Zhenheluo. A passing martial artist exclaimed in surprise. I didn't expect him to become a running dog of the barbarians and leave the country as a traitor. What a fool. Someone recognized the attacker's identity from the appearance of Feather Arrow. He has been in the innate realm for 20 years and is one of the top experts in the world. Those few people seem to be dying here. The innate realm. I don't know which level of warrior it is equivalent to. Can you take a punch from me? Lin Yang was a bit eager to try, but Zhang Yuanshan didn't give him the chance. He spoke up, I'll deal with this old man. I'll hand over the ambushed armored archer to you. Brother Zhang, be careful. Jiang Jiwei instructed her not to say more and pulled out the sparkling white rainbow sun-piercing sword, then flipped over and killed deep in the dense forest. The old man did not stop, he felt a threat from the man in the gossip robe across from him, which made him feel unbelievable. The other person looks less than 20, can they still step into the innate stage? Seeing Wang Jin and Kobijuan also closely following Jiang Jiwei into the dense forest, Lin Yang took a light breath and followed suit. Emotions are complex. Through time, I am finally about to see blood. Sadly, the first time you have to strike your own kind. Cultivating the blood-moving realm not only has infinite strength, but also far surpasses ordinary people in terms of body defense, resilience, and so on. Just like the feather arrows just now, even if they pierce his eyelids, they won't hurt him. Jiang Jiwei swung out her sword, and a cold sword light that seeped through her heart suddenly appeared. Before she could react, the 3 warriors were cut off from their throats and blood spurted out. He is an innate expert. Whispers come from deep in the jungle. I didn't expect to encounter 2 rare innate experts in just one interception. At this moment, Zhang Yuanshan from the outside world also walked towards Guan Haran with a seemingly illusory gait, wielding the refined iron longsword, which was the exquisite sword technique of the Zhenwu sect. Lin Yang looked at the warrior who had been killed and didn't dodge the long sword he had swung. He reached out and slapped it with one hand. With a clanging sound. The long sword of Jia Shi shattered in response, and he only felt a strange and powerful force coming from his hand, shaking the handle of the sword and making his hand blood and flesh blur. Is this person born with external skills? He fell into permanent darkness without much thought. Wang Jin, who had just killed 2 armored soldiers ahead, saw a terrifying scene. The villager, who was not skilled in martial arts, only used an ordinary punch to break an armored soldier apart with his iron armor. It was truly a split, with fragments of his body splattered open. The bloody scene made one's stomach churn. It's really innate divine power. How could there be such a monster in the world? Wang Jin's heart was numb. If he were hit by that punch, not to mention that he had only opened his eyes, he was afraid that even if he opened his 9 orifices together, the outcome would not be much better than that warrior. Can brute force be strong enough to this extent? Even Jiang Jiwei, who comes from a major faction, cannot help but be shocked. This kind of power is difficult to match in the Enlightenment level, and even the top 10 heroes on the list may be at risk of being crushed. Come on. Kill me first. Lin Yang's expression remained unchanged, and he, who had completed his first kill in life, did not feel as uncomfortable as he had imagined. He only used 20% of his strength in that punch just now. His words silenced the armored archer for a moment, followed by a fierce and fearless charge. Military orders cannot be retreated, even if they involve swords, mountains, and seas. Punch, wave your palm, and snap your fingers. The three flawed moves took away the lives of 3 warriors in an unstoppable manner. This time, they left another 10% of their strength. In his view, they were just different from the opponent's stance and there was no need to kill them so bloody and terrifying. However, it was also a massive bombardment on the fragile human body, with clusters of plasma exploding, as if filming a movie about inferior plasma. It's too weak to pose any threat to me, I can't get any experience points. Kicking a soldier into the sky, Lin Yang turned his head to look in the direction of Jiang Jiwei and the others. The killing has stopped. As long as all the armored soldiers who showed their faces died, half of them were pitifully executed by Lin Yang. After completing this mission, you can exchange one lightness skill footwork and another hand martial arts to increase your combat experience. You will be able to rank at the top of the people's list. While wiping the blood from the body of the Bai Hongguan Sun Sword, Jiang Jiwei pointed out Lin Yang's shortcomings. She could see that this newcomer not only had innate divine powers, but also had a deep level of horizontal training skills. Everything else was a weakness, and encountering a true expert would be hard fought to death. Ranking based on combat power. It is a list of young Enlightenment warriors, who will automatically be removed from the list after the age of 35, and the same goes for those who surpass Enlightenment. Currently, it ranks 50. In Wang Jin's opinion, it is impossible for a person from a small mountain village to know what a person list is, so he specifically explained it. Jiang Ji nodded slightly and said, in addition, there is also the heaven and earth ranking. The heaven ranking is the ranking of the Dharma body experts. Since there has been a heaven ranking, at most it was only 14 or 15, and at times it was only 7 or 8, currently only 10. The Earth ranking is a list of famous experts outside of the land immortals, only listed in the top 200, and is basically a master of the 7 heavenly realms or above. My master is currently the first on the Earth ranking. Upon hearing these words, Wang Jin's eyes flashed with envy and jealousy. He complimented, I didn't expect that Jiang Vexia was not only a member of the Sword Washing Pavilion, but also a disciple of Senior Su, the Heavenly Sword. No wonder she was already a dragon and phoenix among people at a young age. Kobijuan is not very familiar with the affairs of the martial arts world, so he is not clear about the weight of being ranked first. She spoke up and said, I don't know what's going on with Zhang Daochang. The old man who blocked the way just now should also be an expert in enlightenment. The Zhenwu sect of Zhang Yuanshan school worships Taoism, and Kobijuan is right to call him a Taoist. Jiang Jiwei was about to speak when she suddenly smiled and said, Senior brother Zhang is here. Sure enough, Zhang Yuanshan, dressed neatly, walked out of the forest. I can't see any traces of combat. That old man is like a master who has opened 4 orifices. He fought with me for 30 moves and was killed by my sword. Zhang Yuanshan lightly skipped the battle process. It seems that the innate realm of this world corresponds to the level of enlightenment. Jiang Jiwei made a judgment. She opened her ears and heard the words of passers-by. The horses have all been startled and need to go back to buy a few more. Arrive in Shaolin as soon as possible. Zhang Yuanshan's gaze swept over everyone one by one, and he paused on Lin Yang, who had turned into a blood man. He could tell that it was showering someone else's blood. Okay, hurry up and avoid any further changes. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Shaolin, Seeking Collection. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Shaolin, Seeking Collection, the main entrance to Shaolin is guarded by yellow-robed martial monks, and nearby is a newly established market inn with a chaotic and noisy atmosphere. It took almost 2 days for everyone to rush from Guanha town to Shaohua mountain, and only encountered one interception along the way. Zhang Yuanshan came to the monk guarding the mountain and nodded, saying, "Master, we have something important to report to the abbot, which is related to the survival of your temple." The monk's dharma name is Deguang. How do you call this benefactor? The monk clasped his hands together, neither humble nor arrogant. Zhang Yuanshan, my master is not well known in the martial arts world. Upon hearing Zhang Yuanshan's words, Monk Deguang's expression moved slightly and he respectfully said, "It turns out that it was Zhang Xiaoxia who killed Guan Haran, the Zhenhe Luo. You have long heard of him." As everyone rushed on, everything that happened at the mouth of Guanha town was spread by flying pigeons. People who are well informed in the martial arts world now know that there was a young Xia Zhang who was under 20 years old and killed Zhenhe Luo, who had been in the innate realm for 20 years. It is imperative to slay the barbarian lackeys. Please follow me up the mountain to meet the abbot, benefactors. Deguang bowed slightly and chanted the Buddha's name before turning to lead the way. All the way through the closely guarded mountain road, Lin Yang and others entered the Sakyamuni hall, and saw that there were many monks in the hall. Judging from the color of the monks' robes, they were the first elders of each temple of Shaolin Temple. It turns out that the high-level officials of Shaolin are all here at this moment. No wonder we are not afraid of being barbarian spies who assassinate the abbot, so we took them directly up the mountain. Zhang Yuanshan knew it clearly in his heart. At the moment of entering the main hall, Lin Yang saw the candlelight eerily forming a line of fonts in mid-air. Upon completion of the main task, each person entering the temple will be rewarded with 50 good deeds. Zhang Yuanshan approached and handed over the list of task props and spies to the Shaolin abbot. Then, the abbot carefully inquired about the specific experiences of the group one by one, and they all answered truthfully. There was originally nothing worth hiding. After the inquiry was over, Zhang Yuanshan informed the abbot that due to concerns about accidents with a single team, the troops were divided into 2 routes, and the other route should arrive in Shaolin in the near future. After leaving the main hall, the fallen leaves outside once again formed a line of fonts. Main task 2, stick to Shaolin until the last moment, complete the reward of 100 good deeds, otherwise deduct. Lin Yang and his group arrived at the inn, and from a distance outside the door, they could hear the sound of conversation inside. That town of Halua has been born for 20 years, and I didn't expect to be killed by the emerging young Xia Zhang. It is said that young Xia Zhang and his companions are all descendants of the senior generation of the hidden world, and their strength cannot be underestimated. I thought that Lin Shao, the leader of the sect, was born with a rare arrogance before he was 30. This time, I found out that there were people outside of him. Bagua Dao Pao, isn't this, young Xia Zhang? Someone saw Lin Yang and his group at the entrance of the inn. Not bad, a group of 5, 3 men and 2 women. It's really Zhang Xiaoxia and others. The noisy inn suddenly fell silent, and a group of martial artists looked at it with respect and fear. It is unheard of in the martial arts world to be able to kill Xiantian if you are less than 20. It is unprecedented. Lin Yang felt itchy in his heart and enjoyed the sensation of being noticed by so many people. In the future, by filling in one's own shortcomings, one can openly become the focus of attention for everyone, and we need to work hard. This time, it was just a ride on Zhang Yuanshan's popularity, and there are still flaws. After opening a few rooms, Zhang Yuanshan and Wang Jin returned downstairs to inquire about the news. Lin Yang and Jiang Jiwei stayed in their respective rooms to take a nap. After traveling for 2 days, I finally don't have to rush around and can take a good rest. The cultivation system in this world is divided into 9 major realms. Foundation building, Qi accumulation, enlightenment, external scenery, Dharma body, legend, creation, the other side, and Tao fruit. In the early stage, the power is not obvious, but in the later stage, the potential is extremely high, even in the world of cultivation with many stars, it is one of the best. Not to mention legendary creations, as long as the Dharma body is condensed, it is a genuine level of true gods in many cultivation worlds. When the Dharma body is fully completed, there is the power to destroy the galaxy with every move, which is enough to dominate the vast majority of the world. I must obtain a complete and unparalleled divine skill this time. I don't know when I will encounter a world with such a complete system and extremely high potential next time. It is called a peerless divine skill because it directly points to the legendary realm of immortality in the heavens. No longer thinking about things that were temporarily out of reach, Lin Yang calmed down and began studying the Lion-Dragon treasure technique. If you have a preliminary mastery of the Lion-Dragon treasure technique, it will be a trump card that is not weaker than his physical strength. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, it's the next day. After lunch, Lin Yang, who was studying treasure techniques in his room, heard a knock on the door. When the door opened, he saw Zhang Yuanshan, Jiang Jiwei, and others, as well as Meng Qi and his team. At this moment, Meng Qi's monk robe was torn and tattered. The burly man who had initially wielded a knife with him had a fierce knife wound on his face, and the silent Qi Jingyan's robe was also disheveled. It was obvious that he had fought hard before arriving here. Turning sideways, Lin Yang opened the door and let a few people in. He looked at Meng Qi and smiled, "Little monk, your luck is really good." "Lin, what does this mean?" Upon hearing this, Meng Qi let out a bitter smile. This time, there were many crises, and if it weren't for being decisive enough along the way, he would have been lying dead in the wilderness long ago. Jiang Jiwei and her companions looked at Lin Yang in confusion. After spending the past few days together, they knew that Lin Yang was not a talkative person. At present, your team is the weakest among them, and they have successfully arrived at Shaohua Mountain, so I say you are lucky. Lin Yang's words were meaningful, as he scanned Zhang Yuanshan and Jiang Jiwei with his eyes and glanced at the towering figure Xiang Hui. Master Zhending protected me from so many injuries. He is very strong. I am the weakest and most useless one. Xiao Zi, dressed in lotus-colored clothes, spoke weakly. She relied on Meng Qi's protection all the way to survive, so naturally no one could say that her life-saving benefactor was not. As she spoke, Xiaozi began to shed tears. Right, you're the weakest one, you're already in the top few of the adult rankings. Lin Yang didn't express what he was saying in his heart. He really forgot about the ranking of the weak girl Xiaozi or the demon girl Gu Xiaosang on the list during this period. The only thing he could be sure of was that she was far stronger than Zhang Yuanshan and Jiang Jiwei. Lin brothers, first let junior brother Zhending and his group do a good wash and change into new clothes. The abbot will also summon them once depending on the situation. Lin Yang didn't say anything after listening to Zhang Yuanshan's words. He said everything that needed to be said, and he believed that the two of them wouldn't miss it. About half an hour later, Monk Deguang returned to the inn and said that the abbot invited everyone to visit Shaolin Temple again. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Inside the Great Heroic Palace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Inside the Sakya Mani Hall, Shaohua Mountain Shaolin Temple, the Sakya Mani Hall. As yesterday did, Abbot Shinji asked about the experiences of Meng Qi and others one by one. At this moment, a ghostly figure rushed out from among Meng Qi and others, slapping the abbot of Xing with a palm. It's a burly man named Xiang Hui. Or rather, he is Kuang Qingwang, a versatile scholar. He is one of the 4 innate experts under Duoer Cha's command. As early as the second interception by Meng Qi and others, the real Xiang Hui died, and later Xiang Hui was all disguised by the versatile scholar. What is depicted is this unexpected surprise attack. As long as he can hit the heart-silent abbot who has injured half a step of the Zen realm with one palm, there will be no one in Shaolin Temple who can confront General Duoer Cha. Amitabha Buddha. The heart-silent abbot had anticipated a slap in the back, and looking at his confident appearance, there was no hint of panic from being ambushed. With his palms facing each other, the versatile scholar's eyes flashed with panic and confusion. I don't understand where the flaw came from, which led to the failure of the surprise attack. Knowing that the plan was exposed, he took the opportunity to escape from the crowd with the palm power of his heart's silence and seek revenge in the future. Chang. Two sword sounds came, and Zhang Yuanshan and Jiang Jiwei, one on the left and one on the right, bullied each other and approached, blocking the retreat of the versatile scholar who had already prepared for it. This little cutie is also an innate expert. When he came today, he inquired about the cause of death in Jinhe Luo and knew about Zhang Yuanshan's strength. However, he never expected that a girl who appeared to be around 15 was also a strong innate expert. No, she was stronger than Zhang Yuanshan who killed Jinhe Luo. The versatile scholar is known for his disguise, and lightness skills. In just one breath, he dodges the moves of the two in a very small space. Damn it! How could there be such a powerful swordsman? The versatile scholar who was wandering and dodging was frightened to the death. He felt a forest cold sword intent tightly locking his eyebrows, and no matter how much he moved and dodged, he couldn't avoid this feeling. It's like this sword has a spirit, no matter what, it will pierce into the center of the eyebrows. Determined to find a flesh shield to reach the edge of this sword, the versatile scholar's body twisted and flickered like a ghost, coming to Lin Yang's face. Shanai Murakami. The versatile scholar who knew Lin Yang's true identity made up his mind to become the substitute for the dead, and there was no more suitable candidate present than him. As long as this calamity passes, he can escape. Okay. Lin Yang's eyes lit up. He had been watching as the two of them clashed at an extremely fast pace, fearing that he would be of great help. He had been watching the battle all along, but he didn't expect this person to come knocking on his door. Take a palm forward and hit the versatile scholar's chest with the first strike from the back. Bang! In an instant, the versatile scholar was like a broken kite flying backwards and falling at the feet of the heart-silent abbot. You. With his 7 orifices bleeding, he trembled and reached out to point at Lin Yang, unable to speak. He had intended to resist with a single palm in exchange for an opportunity to escape, but he never expected this villager's punch to shatter his internal organs. Amitabha Buddha. Abbot Shinji recited the Buddhist name and lowered his head as if he could see the perplexity of the ever-changing scholar. He said, earlier, when you went up the mountain, Master Lin told me that you disguised yourself as his companion. However, I was afraid that your lightness skills were unpredictable, and I was afraid that you would escape before laying various traps here. Indeed, as Master Lin guessed, you came here for the old monk. During his stay in the guest room, Zhang Yuanshan recognized the meaning of Lin Yang dialect and agreed on a plan through sound transmission. The versatile scholar stared at Lin Yang with bloodshot eyes, then collapsed on the ground. At this moment, under the Buddha's seat, who was picking flowers and smiling, flames shot up, forming a line of characters. Task 1. Kill the versatile scholar among the 4 innate masters of the opposing camp. Lin Yang rewards him with 50 good deeds, while Zhang Yuanshan and Jiang Jiwei each reward him with 20 good deeds. The side quest describes killing one of the 4 innate experts of the enemy camp. Participants receive corresponding merit rewards based on the difficulty, strength comparison, and level of output of the mission. Task 2. Start killing General Duo Cha. Participants will receive rewards ranging from 50 to 200 for their contributions. From the sudden attack of the versatile scholar to his death, it only took a few breaths for Meng Qi to understand the situation when he saw the task prompt. It turned out that Xiang Hui had already died, and his teammates who had been walking along the way in the past 2 days had always been enemies. At this moment, Meng Qi remembered Lin Yang's words in the inn and suddenly shuddered. Sure enough, he was lucky enough. If the versatile scholar had to disguise himself as him in the beginning, he would probably have died in the wilderness long ago. Amitabha Buddha. Xing recited the Buddhist name again and slowly spoke, please ask a few benefactors to guard the back mountain to prevent thieves from climbing the rocks and attacking. I will definitely live up to the great expectations of the master. A group of people followed the little monk who led the way and left. Senior brother, why didn't you let them go down the mountain? If it were a spy, our plan would fall through. An old monk with white eyebrows asked. From the beginning, Shaolin was not prepared to carry the army of Duo Cha to death. They planned to let the disciples in the temple carry the secret medicine scriptures and leave Shaolin through a secret passage, in order to preserve the spark for the future. The old monk is afraid that some spies will tell Duo Cha everything that Shaolin has done, which will lead to Duo Cha's early attack and make their preparations fall short. The secret path of the disciples in the transfer temple is not in the direction of the back mountain, so they are not afraid of being seen, explained Abbot Shinji. Abbot Xing continued, although Zhang and Jiang are young, they are also the most top-notch experts from birth. Although Lin seems ordinary, I can't even see through them. The 100 Changes scholar can take my palm and fight with the two young heroes for a long time, but if they take Lin's palm, they will die suddenly. If they were spies, as long as they fight with the 100 Changes scholar, I would probably have passed away by now. After Lin Yang and others arrived, the little monk on the mountain left. Zhang Yuanshan then looked at Meng Qi and said, Junior brother Zhending, do you think you are very familiar with him? Yes, it's exactly the same as Shaolin Temple in the main world. Meng Qi nodded. Jiang Jiwei couldn't help but say, our world Shaolin is located in Liantai Mountain, but here is Shaohua Mountain. However, the environment in Shaolin is completely the same. It's truly a world full of wonders. Brother Lin, how did you tell that Xiang Hui is a versatile scholar? Meng Qi shuddered at the thought of spending the night with this terrifying enemy. Oh. I thought you would ask, why would I say you're the weakest one? Lin Yang smiled and his eyes gradually deepened. Upon hearing these words, Meng Qi was taken aback. Yes, even if Lin Yang had seen through the true identity of the versatile scholar at that time, he shouldn't have been said to be the weakest one. There was clearly a powerless little purple. Zhang Yuanshan and Jiang Jiwei also looked at Xiaozi, Wang Jin, and Kobijuan in an instant, guarded, and calmly distanced themselves. At such times, one is still hiding their own strength, clearly with a considerable conspiracy. Is that so? Meng Qi's mind flashed with various thoughts. I have recalled everything I had in contact with Xiaozi these past few days. The last stop was the name that Xiaozi cried while dreaming the night before. Xiao Sang. Meng Qi murmured to himself. Xiao Sang. Gu Xiao Sang. Jiang Jiwei and Zhang Yuanshan spoke in surprise in unison, and their faces became cautious. Who is she? Is she very famous? Meng Qi has never left Shaolin Temple, so he has never heard of this famous name among the younger generation in the main world. Zhang Yuanshan spoke up and said, she is the saint of the Luo sect. As far as I know, she has made 3 moves, all of which involve killing enemies at a higher level. She has also opened her 8 orifices and has been ranked 4th on the list of people. Jiang Jiwei continued, Luojiao is one of the 9 evil paths, believing in the powerful Wuxing Laomu of the mythological era, and enticing people to return to their vacuum hometown. According to the rumors released by Luojiao, Gu Xiaosang is the reincarnation of the generation of Wuxing Laomu. Oh my, it's been discovered. Xiaozi, it should be said that Gu Xiaosang spoke with a smile. Previously, she could only be considered delicate, but now she has a lively and ethereal temperament that is unpredictable, making her instantly stunning, no worse than Jiang Jiwei. Killing teammates in the same camp requires deducting good deeds. Why do you think of me like this? Gu Xiaosang smiled and looked at Lin Yangqi, you are such a mountain and wild villager that people can't see through. How about joining our Luo sect? If joining the sect can grant me complete unparalleled divine skills, I will definitely join the Luo sect. Then you can take the cultivation method and run away. Lin Yang thought to himself. His tone can be described as astonishing. In the world of the One World Lord, there are many sects and schools, and those who can wield martial arts such as the 4 Buddhist temples, the 3 Taoist schools, the 6 sword-wielding schools, the 6 heavenly masters, the 9 devil schools, the 14 aristocratic families, and the 6 masters of the outer realm. Among them, those who have a complete inheritance of peerless divine skills, but the number of double palms is all inherited from the lineage of the great supernatural powers of the mythological era, and most of the remaining power sects only have Dharma body levels of divine skills. That's really regrettable. Gu Xiaosong's smile remained unchanged. Due to her own special reasons, she knew about the various secrets of the future, and there was no record of Lin Yang as a prominent figure among them, indicating that she was not a strong historical figure. I really don't feel at ease being with you all. Xiaozi has a good impression of you, the little monk, and originally wanted to kill you. Gu Xiaosong's figure seemed to be shrouded in clouds and mist, making it difficult to see. Her words seemed to come from the sky, I'll let you go this time. On the side of Shaolin, there is the heart-silent abbot who is close to half a step away. It is obvious that the strength of General Duo Cha's army will not be too weak, and it is not a good time to kill the righteous talents and heroes. Little monk, you are truly blessed by the Buddha to live until now. Lin Yang looked at Meng Qi with a grateful expression on his face. Zhang Yuanshan and others did not ask Lin Yang why he saw through the ever-changing scholar at a glance. He claimed to be a villager in the mountains, and how could he recognize the demon girl Gu Xiaosang from Dalao? It was a matter of personal privacy, and none of them would rashly ask. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Killing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Killing. Not to mention that a group of reincarnations are stationed on the back mountain. The market at the foot of Shaohua Mountain. Woo! The distant and desolate sound of the horn came, and colleagues also heard the sound of hooves, neat as thunder. It's Iron Wolf Soldier. A martial artist's face changed greatly. The 300 Iron Wolf soldiers under Duo Cha's command are said to have been trained using secret techniques, each with immense strength, painless, and fearless of death. Heroes and heroes, the terrain at the foot of the mountain is open and not easy to block the iron cavalry. Let's quickly retreat into Shaolin and guard the mountain path. Wei Daxia's words make sense. Let's go to the mountain gate quickly. The martial arts heroes who came to support rushed towards the foot of Shaolin Mountain, preparing to occupy territory and block the enemy. Outside the market, smoke and dust rose, creating a vast expanse. Iron riders wearing deep black full-body armor dragged the dust all over the sky and fought fiercely, with only one pair of eyes visible from top to bottom. Kneel down and don't kill. A cold and majestic deep voice sounded, even from a distance, it could be heard clearly. It's General Duo Cha. Someone exclaimed, their face turning pale. As the iron cavalry approached, someone saw the burly and strong barbarian General Duo Cha at the forefront, holding a one-legged bronze man. He did not ride a horse, but was even taller than the Iron Wolf soldiers. At this moment, several Jianghu people who were closer to Dorka felt that the sky suddenly darkened, a strong wind blew, and dark clouds gathered in front of them. A smell of corpses and blood rushed in, with boundless fear suppressed in my heart. Under the influence of the celestial phenomena and spiritual pressure caused by Duo Cha, this group of martial artists suddenly collapsed, some fled to both sides, and some even killed towards the Shaolin Mountain Gate. Bald donkey. Open the door quickly. Upon seeing this scene, Duo Cha remained in place, coldly looking around the inns and calmly commanding, 50 people here, chickens and dogs will not stay, and the rest will follow me up the mountain. The Iron Cavalry team split out 50 people and rushed towards the inns on both sides, with a pair of blood-red eyes staring coldly at everything. They all had a long knife that was half a person high in their hands. When the horse sprinted, it swung down, causing the fragile body to break in half like paper paste, splattering blood. Even though there are many people in the martial arts world, no one dares to resist due to the mental pressure caused by duo or cha. Only by blindly running away, the entire army will be destroyed, which is only a matter of time. Shaolin Back Mountain. The foot of the mountain is in chaos. Jiang Jiwei spoke up and opened her ear. Her hearing was the best among the people present, and she could vaguely hear the shouting of killing at the foot of the mountain. Junding Junior Brother, Qi Junior Brother, Wang Daxiao, and Kun Vexia are guarding the back mountain to prevent anyone from raiding. Jiang Junior Sister, Yu and Lin Brother will go to support Abbot Xinji and wait for the opportunity to kill Duo or Cha. Zhang Yuanshan made the most secure arrangement. Jiang Jiwei's eyes, ears, and 4 orifices are all open. She masters the Dharma body-killing move, Sword Without Me, and as long as the timing is right, she has the opportunity to kill Duo or Cha. Lin Yang's divine power is unparalleled, and he is not afraid of being attacked by a large army. If he can attack and accidentally damage Duo or Cha, then the overall situation will be settled and he will return. Okay. Lin Yang agreed with the situation, and he estimated that only enemies at this level of Duo or Cha could bring experience points for this mission. It's a good opportunity to accumulate combat experience during this time, so as not to suffer losses in future battles with experts. He is clear about his situation and can summarize it with data. Currently, his attack power is extremely high, and his defense is relatively ordinary. His speed is not much higher than that of Enlightenment martial artists such as Jiang Jiwei. Be careful of the great Luo demon maiden. People from the 9 devil realms are the most unpredictable. Jiang Jiwei gave a warning before leaving. In fact, it goes without saying that even Wang Jin, who is much older, dare not surpass Zhang Yuanshan in terms of Jianghu experience among the people present. Naturally, Gu Shaosang was taken into consideration. Inside Shaolin Temple, there is chaos, with constant sounds of killing and killing. People are dying at every moment, with limbs and arms broken, and blood flowing into a river. The Buddha's land, once filled with pilgrims, has now become like a forest hell. Shaolin disciples who were unable to evacuate in time either died under the Iron Wolf cavalry sword or were killed by black armored cavalry. At this moment, in the Sakya Mani Hall, Abbot Shinji sits in front of the Buddha with a smile. Except for him, there was no one else in the hall, and all the elders in each courtyard withdrew early under his tough attitude. Ultimately, it will be fate. Abbot Shinji knew that if he also followed and left, Duo or Cha would definitely pursue and kill a group of Shaolin followers, so he could not leave, otherwise the inheritance of Shaolin for thousands of years may be destroyed here. Holding a prayer bead, Abbot Xing stood up and arrived at the entrance of the main hall. He saw the scene of Sanluo Hell outside, as well as the great General Duo or Cha standing at the end of his line of sight, holding a one-legged bronze man. Amitabha Buddha. With a silent step, the willow leaves blown by the gentle breeze on my body span hundreds of feet in just a few breaths. The palm holding the Buddha pearl turned golden and fell into the eyes of Lin Yang, who had just arrived, as if it had a feeling of filling the world. Humph. Duo snorted coldly as a thunderbolt fell from the sky, entwined around the one-legged bronze man in his right hand, wielding thunder and a hurricane. Bang! The golden palm patted against the one-legged bronze man, emitting a dull roar that shook both the Shaolin disciples and the Iron Wolf soldiers present, and the battle inevitably came to a halt for a few breaths. The dark clouds in the sky are now scattered, casting sunshine. After a momentary stalemate, the heart-silent abbot retreated for a few yards, and a blush flashed on his face. Duo Cha only took 3 steps back. In this round of confrontation, it is obvious that Dorka has the upper hand. Your powerful diamond palm is truly extraordinary. Dark clouds gather again in the sky, with strong winds howling and raindrops falling. This is the half-step outdoor scene where the inner and outer worlds intersect, influencing the celestial phenomena with every move and gesture. At this moment, the dark clouds and thunder roared, and the wild wind and rain falling were all caused by Dorka alone. Even if Lin Yang had seen Shihao transform into a divine radiance and reign in Zhu village, it did not affect his power to shake Duoer Cha. Just getting close to Duoer and observing more than 100 zhang is like seeing a sea of corpses and blood, casting a shadow over one's own soul and unable to generate the desire to take action. Unfortunately, you're getting old. Dorka's voice rang out from the center of the surging wind and clouds. Lightning streaks across the sky, illuminating the earth. Amitabha Buddha, leading beasts to eat humans is a feat of beasts. Why don't you put down your butcher's knife and become a Buddha on the ground? The voice of Xing was old and deep. In the midst of their words, the two clashed again, with a strong wind blowing everywhere, causing the surrounding armored soldiers to tremble and not dare to approach. The closest armored soldier to the point of battle had already fallen to the ground, and their armor had been shaken into mud. Jiang Jiwei was a bit scared and couldn't hide her excitement. She eventually drew the white rainbow sun sword and rushed to support Abbot Shinji. Lin Yang charged towards the nearest armored soldier, unlike Jiang Jiwei, who often saw outdoor scenes. He needed some time to overcome the spiritual impact brought by Duoer Cha. The iron-armored cavalry, regarded as a fierce ghost by martial artists, was as weak as a baby under Lin Yang's command. With just a simple punch and no moves to speak of, they turned the iron-armored cavalry into flesh and mud with their men and horses. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Treasure Art and Brave Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Treasure Art and Brave Power. Even if there are 4 killings outside the Sakya Yamani Hall, the most eye-catching place is Duoerka. Duoer Cha, as a half-step outdoor figure, vaguely linked the principles of heaven and earth with every move and gesture. The strong wind and thunder accompanied him, and the natural power of heaven and earth enabled him to firmly hold the upper hand even against 2 opponents. Winning was only a matter of time. Seeing that she had been unable to achieve any results for a long time, the female benefactor who came to help was also about to give up. She sighed lightly with the Buddhist name and used the items at the bottom of the box. A string of Buddha beads on my wrist flickered with a faint light, exploding one after another, each one forming a phantom of a Buddha in mid-air. This made this place feel like a pure land of spiritual mountains, no longer ordinary. All forms are non-forms, and all sentient beings are non-sentient beings. The vast sound of Buddha echoes on the square filled with corpses, and for a moment, the pure land and hell coexist, with an indescribable strangeness. With a solemn expression on his face, he seized the opportunity and his right palm emitted a faint golden light, lightly shattering the one-legged bronze man. Powerful diamond palm. Since the start of the war, Dorka has become serious for the first time, clenching his right fist with scars and striking the golden palm. Boom! The sky was filled with dark clouds, emitting a muffled sound. A breathtaking lightning bolt struck, as if spiritual, surrounding Dorka's right fist. Great music has the faintest notes. At the moment when the 2 fists intersected, time seemed to have come to a standstill, and the world fell silent. The sound of fighting suddenly came to an end. I don't know how long it has been, like an instant, like eternity, a poignant and unparalleled sword light suddenly appeared. The sword light fits the indescribable Tao, in an indescribable way, unavoidable and destined, with an indescribable charm that seems to be the ultimate transformation of the cardinal axis of heaven and earth. Ah! Dorka let out a mournful scream. The strong wind rises again, thunder and lightning roar. As the heart-silent abbot flew backwards, Duoer Cha firmly grasped the white rainbow sun-penetrating sword that had pierced her left eye. The strong wind surrounded her right hand and hit Jiang Jiwei. Jiang Jiwei's weak body was hit with a powerful fist. Suddenly, Jiang Jiwei vomited a mouthful of blood and flew into the Sakya Yamani Hall. Her right arm grabbed the Baihong Guanri sword and was torn off. Dark red blood flowed out of his eyes, mixed with strange liquid, which made Dorka look like a madman. He was about to enter the Sakyamuni Hall and kill Jiang Jiwei. The enemy of destruction was irreconcilable. He didn't even choose to kill the seriously injured abbot Shinji first. Stop! Lin Yang, who noticed that the situation was not good, let out a loud shout, suppressed his inner fear, and rushed towards Duo Cha. As he ran wildly, the earth shattered with terrifying cracks, and the entire mountain seemed to tremble slightly, like an earth dragon flipping over. The praying mantis arm is like a cart. Dorka's words were cold, revealing a strong sense of killing. Before Lin Yang's eyes, there seemed to be a sea of corpses and blood. The endless smell of blood stimulated him, and he only wanted to vomit. Duo Cha seemed to transform into a demon walking out of hell, wanting to choose someone to devour. Death! Lin Yang roared boldly and punched with all his might, causing the blood flow in his body to roar and thunder. There were strands of divine light blooming in his flesh and blood. Duo noticed a cautious expression, no longer dismissing the previous disdain. He smelled the smell of death from this flawed punch. Poor and despicable. Dorka's words came from the strong wind, and he chose to dodge instead of fighting against Shinji's tactics. At the same time, seized the fleeting moment and knocked Lin Yang off guard. He changed his mind and wanted to kill Lin Yang first before talking about anything else. It didn't matter whether he was calm or alive. Otherwise, when Lin Yang has rich experience in fighting, it will be too terrifying for him to suppress it. Such a person, if I were a member of the barbarian tribe, I would definitely become the barbarian god of war. It's sad and lamentable that you will die here today. There was a hint of regret in Dorj's cold words. For ordinary martial arts practitioners, even powerful individuals like the heart-silent abbot, he dares to recruit with confidence and is not afraid of any chaos. However, Lin Yang is not capable. If he betrays after achieving great martial arts in the future, there may be no one to cure him. Who gave you confidence? Can you kill me? Wiping away the blood from the corner of his mouth, Lin Yang looked directly at Duo Cha, no longer afraid. An unreserved move is just a minor injury, what's so scary about it? The advantage of mouth and tongue. Rainwater drips and dark clouds gather. Dorka's figure became tall and terrifying. Killing you is enough. Lin Yang sneered and suddenly opened his mouth, with a faint purple hue visible in his mouth, and a faint arc shot out from it. At this moment, the lightning rune in his body absorbed the divine radiance inside him, shining with a faint light. Not good. Duo felt a loud warning in his heart. This was not inferior to the crisis just now, and he immediately had to withdraw and avoid the sharp edge. Go to hell. Lion Dragon Treasure Technique. Lin Yang spat out a purple thunderbolt from his mouth, which instantly hit Duo Cha, who couldn't leave in time. Boom! The purple thunder burst out, deafening, and the world fell silent for a moment. Then, Duo's body was covered by the purple thunder for tens of zhang. Ah! Dorka's screams were drowned out by the roar of thunder. Even though he was a half-step outdoor, he was still not extraordinary. At this moment, his physical body was facing countless fierce thunderbolts, but in just one or two blinks, his whole body became charred black, and then he was blasted into powder. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect to have this trick. Lin Yang looked at the gradually dissipating Lion Dragon Treasure Technique, and a hint of excitement flashed in his eyes. He, who made such a shocking blow, couldn't help but turn pale, and his body weakened at this moment. The level of control over the Lion Dragon Treasure Technique is still insufficient, otherwise it would not have made oneself feel weak in the extreme realm of moving blood with just one use. He has a clear understanding. Gain 200 experience points. A line of text flashed in front of me, indicating that Duo had died and could no longer die. The smoke and dust from the collapsed house in the distance slowly formed lines of information in the sky. General Duo Cha died and completed the second branch task. Reward Lin Yang with 200 good deeds and Jiang Jiwei with 100 good deeds. Duo Cha died, Shaolin fell, and the main task 2 was completed ahead of schedule. Each team will receive a reward of 100 good deeds. Return immediately. With the appearance of this line of text, Lin Yang's figure gradually faded and disappeared. Similarly, there are several reincarnations located in different places. Amitabha Buddha. The heart-silent abbot looked at the already inhumane thunder and the gradually disappearing Lin Yang, and habitually recited a Buddhist name. I am ready to sacrifice myself to suppress demons, but I didn't expect a true, immortal character to appear. He is truly an extraordinary expert. For the external realm of the main world, Taoism in this area refers to it as immortal truth, while Buddhism refers to it as the Zen realm. Xing thought of the identity of Zhang Yuanshan, a few extraordinary masters who have been passed down in the martial arts world, and affirmed it. How can we explain the emergence of a fairy and several innate beings? After killing Duo Cha, he drifted away by unpredictable means. Don't worry about weapons, get through the beginner stage and use whichever is practical. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Exchange. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Exchange. Before everyone's eyes, there was a pitch-black scene, followed by a bright light. A fairyland-like white jade square appeared in front of them. The main quest is completed, and free healing begins. The majestic and indifferent voice of the Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation rang out, enveloping a group of reincarnators with milky white radiance. Lin Yang saw that among the personnel guarding the back mountain, Wang Jin and Kobijuan did not return, while Meng Qi and others could see obvious signs of battle. As the mildest injured, Lin Yang treated him the fastest. This mission only allowed Duo to examine his palm and truly hurt him. Immediately after, Meng Qi and Zhang Yuanshan also completed their treatment, followed by Qi Zhengyan. A few people waited for a few more breaths before the radiance of treating Jiang Jiwei dissipated. Her right sleeve of her goose yellow long skirt was empty. Why are you injured so badly? Lin Yang looked at Meng Qi and others. We encountered Tang Shun, the heavenly earth in the palm, and Boran, the white eyebrow evil wolf. Tang Shun was skilled in using hidden weapons to ambush and injure senior brother Zhang. In the end, there was a fierce battle before they were killed. Unfortunately, Wang Daxia and Kun Vexia died. Meng Qi's face was a bit heavy, as if he was still reminiscing about the brutality of that war. He continued, after killing both of us, we were all seriously injured. We were afraid of encountering enemies again, so we hid in a secret passage I discovered and stayed there until we returned. He is not familiar with Lin Yang, so he did not mention that he obtained the first move of Ananda's breaking ring saber technique in the secret passage, which severed the inheritance of pure sword intent. Even if she teamed up with Abbot Shinji, would Sister Jiang still be so seriously injured? Zhang Yuanshan saw the scene of Jiang Jiwei being reborn after losing her arm, and even lost the sword she carried with her. Duo Cha's strength is beyond imagination, it's just half a step away from home. Even if I work together with Abbot Shinji, we are not opponents. Jiang Jiwei's calm tone carried a hint of regret as she thought of her own by Hongguan Sun sword. Thank you very much, Brother Lin. If it weren't for you ultimately killing Duo Cha, I would have been seriously injured and couldn't have escaped. Jiang Jiwei expressed her gratitude to Lin Yang while speaking. No problem, we are all teammates who support each other. Killing Duo Cha is also to complete the task, there's no need to be polite. Lin Yang finished speaking, paused, and continued, there was a strong person who taught me a magic trick, and that's how I killed Duo Cha. In the future tasks, he will definitely use the lion-dragon treasure technique, and he has no intention of concealing it. I originally planned to rely on my physical strength to fight against Duo Cha, but I didn't expect that there were many loopholes in the moves, and it wasn't his one-on-point enemy. Lin Yang burst into a bitter smile as he spoke. The gap between him and Duo Ercha was not so great that they could be reduced 10 times in one go, and it was also helpless to be defeated by someone's skills. You just need to make up for your lack of experience and become a master, much stronger than me. Meng Qi began to mock himself, as if he had stepped out of the influence of the previous mission. At this point, the Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation gave a task evaluation for this time. Task evaluation. Zhang Yuanshan, Jiang Jiwei, and Qi Jingyan each received a moderate reward for 20 good deeds, while Lin Yang and Zhen Ding each received a good reward. In addition to receiving 30 good deeds, they also received the opportunity to shake lots. The scope of the shake lots includes all things below the outdoor scenes. Lin Yang and Meng Qi gave a higher rating than the others because they ultimately killed Duo Ercha and explored secrecy. Watching the white mist rising in front of him, Lin Yang lifted a dusty signpost from it. The inside of the signature barrel is dark and profound, and nothing can be seen. Meng Qi also got an identical signature box. Jiang Jiwei, Qi Jingyan, and Zhang Yuanshan all leaned over and watched with great interest as they shook the lottery. After studying and confirming that he couldn't see anything, Lin Yang vigorously shook the sign barrel, casting a light curtain over the mouth. Various illusions flashed one by one, and the speed was extremely fast, making it difficult to see clearly. The speed of the phantom transformation became slower and slower. First, a secret book flashed by, and Lin Yang read the book Dugu Jiujian on the cover. Then, there was a bottle of pill with the name Tian Song Pill pasted on it. In the end, the phantom became a secret script. Arhat Fist. Lin Yang. Arhat Fist is just a martial art used to build a foundation. You only need 2 good skills to buy it from the Lord of 6 Circulations. Meng Qi shook a bottle of Lingjibu Qi Wan, which can be used to enhance his own skills during the Qi storage stage. The lottery ended and everyone began to exchange ideas on how to exchange items. Jiang Jiwei regretfully said that she wants to exchange the Bai Hongguan Ri sword this time, otherwise she won't be able to explain to her elders how to cultivate in seclusion. If she loses the sword after cultivation, it may easily lead to hidden dangers. She was severely injured at the time and couldn't move at all, so she didn't see the scene of Duo Ercha and Bai Hongguan's sun sword turning into ashes and dust. I originally wanted to exchange for sword 23, but it seems we can only wait until next time. Jiang Jiwei's words were filled with regret. For a natural swordsman like her, seeing the joy of being unable to touch swordsmanship is truly torture. Sword 23, belonging to the outdoor level technique, comes from the Holy Spirit sword technique in the manga Wind and Cloud. It is a sword that can only be used by burning life and giving up life. It is a sword of the heart, soul, spirit, and sword intention. Under one sword, the senses stagnate and everything solidifies, making it unavoidable. Not only the Holy Spirit sword technique, Lin Yang also saw 2 techniques in the section of the Dharma Body Divine Arts. Blood Sky and Mysterious Universe in the Huntian Bao Jian, which can condense the Heavenly Demon technique of the Heavenly Demon Golden Body. The outdoor series includes God of War illustrated records, top 10 martial arts, and so on. It is obvious that the world of one world includes worlds such as Fengyun and Shenbing Xuanqi. Jiang Jiwei plunged her hand into the beam of light and took out a brand new white rainbow sun-penetrating sword. The remaining good deeds were exchanged for the emotional part of the Holy Spirit sword technique, corresponding to Sword 1 to Sword 18. At the Lord of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation, the vast majority of divine skill secrets can be exchanged for Qi accumulation, enlightenment, and so on. Subsequently, at Meng Qi's suggestion, Zhang Yuanshan exchanged the Qi storage chapter of his own cultivation for the body-filling technique. He realized the difference between his own cultivation and his own, and compared it to fill in the gaps and improve his own foundation. Because we have already reached this stage, using this method will not have an unstable foundation, but instead can mutually confirm and comprehend the true meaning of the cultivation. Even as calm as Zhang Yuanshan, he is still excited at this moment. Sincerely express gratitude to Meng Qi. Meng Qi himself used his good skills to complete the incomplete form of Ananda's breaking the ring saber technique, and elevated his learned lightness skill, divine elements, from 8 repetitions to a variety of divine elements. Qi Zhengyan knew that as an ordinary disciple, he did not have the opportunity to observe the Zhenpai divine skill, immortal teachings of the long life sword, during the basic stage. Therefore, he made up his mind to change his foundation as soon as possible, so as not to forcibly change it in the future when his foundation was already established, and it would be difficult to make further progress. And the cultivation method he chose to change his foundation is the Huntian Baojian, which is divided into 10 layers, 2 layers for qi storage, 3 layers for opening the mind, 3 layers for external scenes, and 2 layers for the Dharma body. Compared to other Dharma body divine arts, the division is extremely detailed and can be exchanged layer by layer. Huntian Baojian is a peerless martial art created by the goddess Nu in the legend of the Heavenly Emperor. It is practiced to the extreme and can devour all things, destroy heaven and earth. Qi Zhengyan exchanged the first 2 layers of the Huntian Baojian this time, which are white clouds and smoke, and rose clouds swaying. After completing their respective exchanges, everyone looked at Lin Yang and Meng Qi spoke up, "Brother Lin, what are you preparing to exchange?" "You are now laying the foundation, and I can help you refer to it." "Actually, I want to first join the martial arts major and then exchange my martial arts skills from the Lord of the Six Paths Reincarnation, but unfortunately." Lin Yang's words were not fully explained, and Meng Qi also knew what he was regretful about. The majority of martial arts disciples were chosen to take them to the mountains for cultivation from a young age. Generally, people in their 20s do not have the opportunity to join. After all, after the best time to lay a foundation has passed, it takes much more effort than others to become successful, or even a lifetime of mediocrity. My main task this time is to achieve 150 good deeds, 200 good deeds for the main task, 50 good deeds for killing the versatile scholar, 200 good deeds for duo or cha, and 30 good deeds for the task evaluation, totaling 430 good deeds. Undoubtedly, Lin Yang achieved the highest level of merit among the people present. After all, duo or cha was personally killed by him, and everyone was not surprised. "I plan to exchange for the 8-9 Xiangong." Lin Yang expressed his plans. 8-9 mysterious skills. Meng Qi, Zhang Yuanshan, and others all exclaimed in surprise. This divine skill is among the top few in the peerless divine skill spectrum. Who hasn't noticed it? Meng Qi's heart twitched in waves, and he didn't expect that his beloved martial arts would be exchanged by someone. He also wanted to cultivate the 8 or 9 dark arts. Unfortunately, there's no money. If it weren't for their own fundamental law, they could have obtained the Dharma body. It is estimated that Zhang Yuanshan and others have all started thinking about changing the fundamental law. The 8-9 Xiangong, if one enters the Tao, will not destroy the Tao body. If one comprehends Buddhism, they will obtain the Bodhi golden body, which is neither dirty nor pure, neither born nor destroyed. The body will become holy, and will not be worn down in all tribulations. It has 3 heads and 6 arms, follows the principles of heaven and earth, and is versatile. It is good at avoiding disasters and calamities, and has abundant divine abilities and infinite power. This is the introduction given by the Lord of the 6 Paths of Reincarnation. In the exchange list, it seems to be different from the Taoists' 7 swords of cutting the sky, and the Buddha's Tathagata divine palm, and higher than peerless divine skills such as the Jade Book of the Heavenly Emperor. That's right, the Qi storage section of the 8-9 Xiangong requires 100 good skills, and the Enlightenment section requires 1000 good skills. I'm planning to exchange the miraculous technique for the Lord of the 6 Paths Reincarnation and by the Enlightenment section together. Lin Yang expressed his own thoughts. He is more aware than anyone of the specific power of the 8-9 mysterious arts. In the early stages, he had extremely high control over his body, allowing his divine power to be fully utilized. However, in the later stages, he became exceptionally divine and varied. Thunderbolt Secret Technique, Outdoor Level Secret Technique, worth 8,000 good skills. This is the price given by the Lord of the Six Paths of Reincarnation for the Lion Dragon Treasure Art. From its naming convention, it is not considered a Lion Dragon Treasure Art, and there is no universe in this world that is similar to a perfect world. Also, because it is a brand new secret technique that has not been included, it was purchased at the original price. Seeing Lin Yang, Ju, Meng Qi and others stopped persuading him, but Meng Qi's envy in his heart was not enough for outsiders. End of this chapter.